as far as a starting item. But Jex Refi, what particular weapon will we begin this particular seed with?
I'm going to quickly say Canis Samaria because we are underway.
All right, so let's see. Uncle is swordless. The last couple I've commentated actually started with swords. I hadn't seen very many of them all throughout the way, but a hook shot in Link's house really is a nice item to find. Opens up a lot of Death Mountain, which typically is one of those high item density locations early on. So I'd get a guess that these runners are super happy to see that.
Yeah, you see it helps with mobility as both runners using the hook shot to traverse along, hooking onto the fence. But in terms of getting through escape, it won't really help that much because it will only stun the guards, it won't kill them.
Yeah, but coupled with whatever weapon they get here, they are going to have access to the stun prize, the Cane of Berna. Ugh. Not my favorite to start with, just kind of a lame weapon to begin with, but certainly useful. And as I said, having access to the Sun Prize might prove important.
Well, and actually, Hookshot's probably one of those items that, in a weird sort of way, you want to see with the Cane of Brian, because the Cane of Brian will always push enemies up. And so if you can stun an enemy into a corner, you got them right where you would want them to try to take it out with the Cane of Brian as fast as possible.
Yeah, and the other thing that the hookshot does do is it is pretty effective against those ropes, bats, and rats. So they're going to be able to be a little bit more free with their... Ooh, bomb on Hippo's side. Excellent. Nice pickup. A little bit more free with their magic usage along the way, but of course now Hippo doesn't need to farm anymore. He's got his initial bomb. He might grab a couple more along the way. AmazingAmpharos still needs to pick that up, but with the number of green guards expected to be killed, he should see it soon.
And as you saw on Hippo, as we said earlier, the guards, any enemies will get bounced up based on the Cane of Brian's hitbox. We noticed that the stun prize was just, I think, a single green rupee.
Yeah, nothing to write home about. Not even able to use that to farm effectively in the event that rupees become a factor.
Now, we saw the green guard dropped a single bomb, so you were going to have to... I think with this one here in the trap room, that should get the bomb for Ampharos, and it does. So both of them have it, just $5 in the boomerang chest.
Absolutely. But that does mean that we're going to have a nice, clear escape for both players. They're not going to have to worry about doubling back at any point. And that really is one of those things that can make or break a run. If one player gets lopsided through the escape, it certainly can play a serious impact. So we're not going to see that today. It's going to be a nice, fair matchup between these two players.
Hippo stunning the green guard that usually can be quite trolly, as well as AA does. $20 there. We have not seen the key, so the small key is going to be in the sewer chest because you need it to get through the locked door in the sewers.
Yeah, obviously we're going to get through this dark area, but 3 more chests inside after that key chest that you were speaking of, followed by the sanctuary chest, so plenty of opportunity for something exciting to change things up here in the escape sequence, but both runners on par for an excellent escape time.
Now, one of those will have to be the map. With this not being key sanity, the dungeon items are going to be in their respective dungeons. So we've seen 3 items. We know the small key is going to be in the 4th one. Map will be in one of the remaining 4.
And it's interesting to note that both runners just quickly dodging out of the way. Nobody wants to waste even a second here hitting an additional monster enemy that's not necessary. See Hippo there making use of the hookshot to speed things along, and AmazingAmpharos also following up.
Interesting note here. Hippo is using, I imagine it's a Mario sprite. And well, okay. I was like, the hat looks weird. And I'm like, oh, wait. Now I understand how the hat is. So we got Mario versus Link tonight.
Oh, yeah. So your prediction going to come true here with this chest. Let's see if you're an amazing predictor of the random seed. Oh, wow. How'd you do it, Jax? It's amazing.
It's called process of elimination. Both of our runners have plenty of magic to take care of the final boss of the escape sequence, the rat. Or also, they can make a fool of me and just show that, hey, you can kill the rats with the hook shot.
Yeah, the hook shot really does change things up. It also makes the farming of this, if they didn't find a bomb, much easier. Doesn't matter, though, along the way. 3 chests here. One of them might be the map, and there it is. We also get a piece of heart and the power glove. So that does mean you really, really, really wanted to find a bomb in this escape sequence. Whenever there's a glove in those 3 chests, it's a nightmare if you don't find a bomb.
Yes, because the way the standard logic works, it assumes that you can do this, and farming either bombs or money. Because you can farm, it assumes you can do it no matter whether it put bombs in specific places. $50 in the sanctuary, so you would have had to trek all the way back if you didn't find another power glove. But Hippo is on his way out, and from here, the world is the runner's oyster.
6 minutes, 13-second escape sequence. Pretty standard considering their weapon loadout. Certain item combinations are faster, but that was pretty good time for a K to burn a start. The hookshot definitely made it a little bit easier. Hippo is going to elect to go straight to the Lost Woods. That's pretty standard for most players at this level now. AmazingAmpharos most likely going to follow suit. Actually, he's taking a little bit of a detour here. Going to get us a look-see at what's going on this tree pull, and then probably going to peek in at the lumberjack hut.
Yeah, we had I imagine it's a tier 2 tree pull was $5. And the tiers reset every time you pull the tree, so we may also see a tier 1 here soon, but...
Yeah, killing some enemies to change the setup. We just find some more rupees down in the bandits' hideaway. There were 3 bombs in the Lost Woods mushroom location and 10 arrows there in lumberjack huts. So AmazingAmpharos falling behind a little bit here, has some additional information, but the gamble didn't pay off with any of his farming at this point.
All right, into Kakariko we go, and we're going to be starting with Blind's Hut. Now, those triple bombs that we found in the Lost Woods are certainly going to help in getting the 3 bomb walls here in Kakariko.
Yeah, it definitely makes it a lot easier. You don't have to backtrack down to the bomb shop right away. You can do a natural thing. And the boots, as a find here in Blind's Hut. We're going to be going fast for the whole seed, ladies and gentlemen. I love it when a plan comes together.
Certainly true. Now, if only we had the Sonic sprite instead of Mario and Link.
Yeah, and as you were saying, finding the 3 bombs there really does pay off. That's why the runners are going to take their time to go up and pick that up. You might see a situation where, if you've been watching this along the way of the tournament, and you wonder why a decision is made versus why a decision isn't made. Because neither of them had any bombs, seeing 3 bombs at the Lost Woods in the mushroom location is always going to be picked up heading into Kakariko Village. But if they had like a 10 stack, they certainly would have passed that up.
Right. We had the Bombos medallion in the well. And the bottle vendor giving us half of our money back.
Yeah, and finding a few more bombs down there in the well may actually provide Hippo an opportunity to not head into the bomb shop. It'll depend on what he's going to do. He picked up those 300 rupees now, so I think he'll probably pick up a full load before heading to the south of Lake Hylia.
Yeah, you're definitely going to need the bombs for the South Shore. You won't need to worry about bombs for the mini Trolldorm Cave. There's the Moon Pearl.
Good.
Hookshot will certainly take care of those mini Trolldorms.
Yeah, and see, because he has 3 bombs now, he's going to just bypass that he's got enough to get into the mini Moldorm cave, and that's probably going to be good enough for him. Now, he could have picked up a few more bombs on the library shelf if he wanted to, but he's content with the 3 that he has in his pocket at this point.
And $20 to the race game means he's going to nope on out, and we will most likely see him head south.
Yeah, no surprises here. They haven't picked up anything that's going to lead them astray from what I would consider to be the standard path in the early part of Randomizer Seed in this version. So maybe we might see one of them decide to use those sprint shoes to get over to Gina's cave, but that would be an unlikely and a little bit random play. AmazingAmpharos is picking up some extra bombs, so he might have a bomb advantage later on. But other than that, as I was saying, going to get the dam area into Mini Moldorm and most likely head over to Ice Rod Cave unless they find some significant differences or significant item pickups along the way.
We got drugs in the bottom of the swamp, so those mushrooms are growing underwater now.
We did see Hippo try to get some speed off the stairs there on the dam, but didn't succeed. Only gave it 1 attempt.
Yeah, for the uninitiated, there's a glitch where if you use either the hook shot or a sword spin, I don't know if it's the other items, but if you do that and try to dash at the same time, you unlock that little speed glitch. But 5 items here. Nothing much so far. Oh, but hey, there's the Titan's Mid, so that's Dark World access.
Yeah, and that's an interesting version of the Dark World's access. They don't have the flippers to get all the way to the eastern side of the Dark World, but they have the hook shot to get back. So, kind of a bummer, but it's partial Dark World access, certainly enough to put a big question mark on whether or not this is going to be an AGA 1 required seed.
AGA 1 is still on life support because if you don't have the hammer and you need to get the flippers will get you over, but what I was getting at is if you need to get to Fat Fairy with the big bomb, the only way and you don't have the hammer, the only way to do it is through AGA 1.
Yeah, and that has come up a couple of times in the tournament. It's very rare, but it certainly does happen with the number of seeds that we've seen. That is the case. We still haven't picked up a sword, and I will say that throughout the last little bit of the tournament, Hippo's going to have set up Water Walk here, so that's fantastic for him. In the last little bit of the tournament, swords have been a little bit hard to come by. I've seen a lot of seeds where players have had only the fighter sword heading into Ganon's tower, more than I saw all Swiss round stage. And so I wonder if this seed might play out like that.
We will certainly have to watch that as it unfolds. I haven't seen fighter sword in a GT. I've certainly seen a few master sword in a GT. AmazingAmpharos not bothering with Ice Rod Cave and just going to go straight for the fake flipper, using the bomb to get him lined up perfectly.
Yeah, and so while Hippo did do that and it didn't find him anything, it did allow him to unlock that Water Walk, which speeds things up tremendously for him. So AmazingAmpharos is going to get a little bit of time caught up, but not as much as you would normally see because of that. So a fake flipper glitch here does mean that these 2 chests are out of sequence for the runners. But considering they're here and they have all of the rupees they need to talk to Zora, Fighter Sword is a nice pickup. Remember, that is an out-of-sequence Fighter Sword.
That is correct. The Zora ledge will be out of logic. Zora himself is considered in logic because we do have at least the Power Glove. Big 20 on the ledge. So, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we'd like to welcome you to the Zora Domain Slam Poetry Corner. For once was a fish named Zora who gives you flippers and vanilla. In Rando, he sucks for $500. We did this stupid trek for 1 measly buck.
So Hippo's going to save a quid out of that did pick up a sword, so both of these runners are going to be equipped with weaponry. Very nice. Now, other thing that we haven't seen yet, very interesting, is a lack of a map check from either player. So we don't even know what dungeons are yet, and it might be interesting to find out. But we're going to get our Saharshala check out of Hippo's side. He does activate speed there using the hook shot. And 3 chests here at the back of Saharshala's place.
All right, got a bottle of Mountain Dew, a heart container, and silver arrows.
Yeah, silver arrows is certainly nice to find, but you'd probably prefer to find the bow first. And there's our map check. So we did see a crystal at Eastern Palace, and it looks like that means that Hippo is going to go in, even though he can't complete it yet. I believe there was a crystal at Desert.
Okay, I thought I saw a blue pendant at Desert, and I saw a green pendant at Hera, but I'm sure someone in chat will correct us on that. I'm not sure.
I tried to catch it on the second the replay there, but didn't quite see it.
AmazingAmpharos going to do Flinkshwary locations and going to do King's Tomb first.
Yeah, very early King's Tomb, but red boomerang. So keep in mind, even if Hippo picks up the bow here, he would still be a sequence break because he doesn't have lantern access, and as well, the weapon that he's currently sporting is additionally broken out of logical order. So this is a pretty risky gamble. It's definitely outside of the Sphere 1 checks for him.
Well, the first
these chests are still.
The first 3 chests are still in Sphere 1. Unless like we get something crazy like the lamp in this next chest, that would be the end of the Sphere 1. Well, no, we got the big key, so there would also be the big chest. Speaking of sequence breaks, AA is gonna go head up to Death Mountain, which without the lamp it isn't a sequence. Whoa! D in French Vanilla, D in Eastern Palace.
Wow, what a find! So that's really going to help Hippo out along the way. Bow in Eastern Palace is really just awful in some cases because a lot of the time runners, especially if they see that it's a crystal, are going to want to hang on to that as a place to go and double team the Eastern Palace Palace of Darkness option, or if that is an option. So Hippo is taking the risk there, and it certainly has paid off for him.
Meanwhile, AmazingAmpharos returned the old man home, and in return got a book to teach the language of the old man's ancestors.
Yeah, and everyone hates Bow in Eastern Palace if you play Randomizer. It's just not... It just doesn't feel fast ever, but there we see an ice rod here under Spectacle Rock, so that's a nice pickup to find. That could be one of the trolley items. So Hippo now going to head to the second set of dark rooms in the back of Eastern Palace because he can clear this out now. No problems.
Yeah, no, this is still technically out of logic because the logic assumes you need the lamp to do it, but with the caliber of runner that we have at this point in the top 16, lamps, where we're going, we don't need lamps.
So he's sighted in on his Igor, picked up the key. Now, one of the things that makes this tricky, and a lot of people kind of question, like, why do runners have a hard time with this room, is for some reason you can't pick up the pot that's necessary to be picked up there if you're at the very top part of the screen. You actually have to be a few pixels down. And meanwhile, that other Igor is going to be bodying you all the way along. So Hippo taking a few seconds there to go back and grab a fairy before trying again.
Yeah, especially, like, you want to take as little time as possible trying to get through. All right, he was able to pick up, and there he goes. But a death would be massive at this point.
Yeah, meanwhile, we're in Paradox Cave now on AmazingAmpharos' side, so the first 2 items don't pay off with anything special. second set of 5, though. Lots of items here. Now, these are also sequence broken at this point because we don't have a way to get up the mountain properly yet. Big 20, 20 more to follow that up with a piece of heart. Another big 20 and 3 bombs. So, interestingly enough, that hookshot didn't lead to anything out here on Death Mountain. That's amazing, the number of items available to runners at this point.
Nope.
That's a real big blank on Death Mountain, and you gotta feel bad if you're AmazingAmpharos here, just because you kind of took the time to go to this place expecting that you'd get something, and really finding nothing. Meanwhile, Hippo at 20 minutes, 26 seconds picks up the first crystal of the seed. AmazingAmpharos does see that the cane of Samaria, however, is up on the floating island, so he has some knowledge at the very least.
Yes, I do think that is indeed a cane. Now that would mean that we've already got Titan's mitts. We just would need the mirror to be able to get to that cane of Samaria.
Mm-hmm. And it's likely going to be required, but we don't know for sure yet. It's almost always logically required because of Ganon's Tower, but I'm not sure if Ganon's Tower cares where the big key is, or if it just always assumes that you can get the game before it.
All right, we're gonna see Dark Death Mountain. All right, 5-6 crystal at Skullwoods, Swamp Palace, and Mire are your other pendants.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I missed what the other 5-6 crystal was.
I saw one at Ice Palace.
All right, so Skullwoods and Ice Palace.
Yeah, so now Hippo's just kind of doing a few more checks that Bonk rocks, and he picked up that red meringue over at King's Tomb. And I imagine he'll head upwards. Oh, he might not head up to Death Mountain. I feel like you would, because he wouldn't. Doesn't want to do another sequence break. I just felt like there's a lot of items there over in Paradox Cave, but he's not being fooled, much to his benefit at this point.
There's really no way to know other than to ask. Turtle Rock is going to require Ether Medallion, and instead Hippo is going to go to Skullwoods.
Mm. So Bloomerang here in the first chest of Hookshot Cave, followed by a Fighter Shield, so a second shield upgrade. And a bottle of red goo. So both players now have a bottle. Hippo picked his up in the back of Saharshal's hut along with those silver arrows.
So far, just dungeon items in Skullwoods. In fact, no small keys, so we need to go into the pinball room to go pick one up.
And AA's definitely, going to pull himself into the Dark World now. He's got access to it, but missing out on that bow in Eastern Palace. The longer he goes without that, that's a very powerful weapon when coupled with the silver arrows. Can certainly change a lot of your routing decisions, but also just does a lot of damage to bosses, specific bosses, of course. But finding it early on really maximizes your opportunity to use it.
Here's where I will slightly disagree with you. I mean, you are totally right in everything you said, but bow cannot be used to kill Mothula. Bow cannot be used to kill Blind. And depending on seeing where we are right now, you can live without the bow for the time being. Once we start getting to the further we go, where that not having the bow is pulling AA away, that's where I think it's going to start to make a difference. Right now, I think it's fine. Like, if you get a hammer and it kind of a hammer in the mirror and he tries to combo both, that may kind of play it to his favor.
Yeah, it could certainly be a benefit then. So we did see a lantern pick up in the Village of Outcasts. Not too shabby. Another bottle as well. It should be said that this hippo just picked up what would logically be the first sword that's been available to these runners here in the big chest of Skullwoods.
You're about to say something else, though.
I might have been, but I've forgotten it.
Oops. All right. Well, AA is at the digging game. 12 digs in so far, nothing. There's 15. And vanilla piece of heart.
Yeah. So with Boots still able to get away before the game master has to talk to you. Hippo grabs his lantern now out of the chest game.
And AA gonna take Jeremiah on a little Froggy World tour. Won't really be able to go far on that world tour though, because we don't have flippers or hammer to go much further past Hype Cave.
Yeah, that is true. It's not gonna not still gonna be a pretty decent tour. Hype Cave with Paradox Cave being a real big blank. Mini Moldorm Cave not being that special either. There's a lot of potential here for Hype Cave to be a high item location. So let's see if AmazingAmpharos grabs something that's going to give him an advantage at this point in the game.
Afer, your old dad, gifted a tier 1 sub to Sun Fisherman. So thank you very much for that sub.
Well, there's another sword upgrade, so we're going to get... Oh, and the flute. So Hype Cave's pretty nice for the players this time. That does mean that we're going to have Tempered Sword in this game, so that's a really nice find. Nobody's going to have to do Master Sword Ganon, although they do already have silver, or they will likely have silvers, both of them.
Yeah, your fears of a Fighter Sword GT have been assuaged at this point. And Afer, your old dad, gave himself a tier 1 sub, so thank you for that as well. And Hippo gonna do his own Froggy World Tour, so we'll get his Tempered Sword, I would imagine. AA gonna activate the flute. We have Hippo's audio, so we'll do Swag Duck when Hippo activates it.
Yeah, now this kind of dovetailed really nicely for him, considering his route, to get an opportunity to activate the flute just naturally as you're pathing down to rescue Jeremiah. Really feels nice and efficient.
So really all that flute does at this point is put Death Mountain in logic. And even wait, where do we get the lamp?
At the chest game in Village of Outcasts.
Okay, so that would now put, all that really does is put the book in logic.
Yeah, it also gives them access to the Mire area. They do have the Titan's Mitt, so there's a couple of chests there that'll be useful. Can't do Checkerboard Cave. But not too bad. Hippo following AmazingAmpharos here. Footsteps just a few minutes behind, but an entire dungeon ahead at this point.
All right, well, AA took Jeremiah to the Swag Duck, so will Hippo. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us for the playing of the National Swag Duck Anthem. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, the Hawk's about to rock, and we salute you.
So AmazingAmpharos grabs the lunchbox now. Gonna go visit Gary at this point. That's an interesting call. Oh, maybe not. Oh, yes, he is. He has the flute. That's an interesting call for me. I would say it's a single one-off location. He has a lot of dungeons that he could be entering and clearing.
The only thing is, right now, you can technically finish Thieves Town, but you're still one item short with,
There's the
well,
hammer.
there's the hammer!
Wow, what a good call.
I couldn't even do that again if I wanted to.
Yeah, well, I would have assumed that he would have gone to desert. He has desert and thieves because he has the boots in the book. So I thought that he has 2 dungeons that he would have done, but I suppose it didn't really hurt him to do it this way, and he's going to benefit from that by having the hammer.
And to your point, desert is full clearable, and that's exactly where AA is headed.
Yeah, and I really like that is an item. Like the purple lunchbox, definitely he found himself an advantage. It could be some time before Hippo heads there himself. We'll have to wait and see. He has a lot of opportunity, a lot of potential items that a lot of places that he could go as well at this point. So interesting to say the very least. Each runner has an important item up on the other. Though I would say hammer's a little bit better.
Yes, exactly. I love what St. Tommy Boy put in chat. Excuse me, server. There's a hammer in my lunch. I asked for a ham sandwich. I understand the confusion.
He's working the high iron today. Had to pack an extra hammer. AmazingAmpharos picked up another sword upgrade here in the desert, so we are going to have 4 swords, most likely.
The only way we may not... Well, okay, we'll probably have it on Hippo's side. The only way we may not on AA's side is if he is in go mode when he gets the Skullwoods.
Mm-hmm. So Hippo now is going to go through this entire sequence over in Death Mountain that we know is not going to pay off. This is allowing AmazingAmpharos to get some of that time up. Of course, he's doing it in a different dungeon, Desert Palace, but hey, every crystal counts. You need all of them to finish the game, so I like his play here. And at the same time, I can't fault Hippo for going to this high-density item location.
I mean, it certainly makes sense. It's at this point in logic, this is where the most item locations are. It's just gonna unfortunately bust out for him, except with the book.
Yeah, and the ice rod, but of course, ice rod not super important at this stage.
All right, so we're gonna see AA head into the Lammelus fight.
Now he's gonna have to do that without the benefit of silver arrows, but he does have that tempered sword, so it is going to be a relatively nice fight for him.
AA using that ice rod to his advantages in lieu of not having the silver arrows or the bow.
Yeah, it does the same damage. It just shoots the projectile somewhat slower, so it does take a little bit of tweaking of your tactics when to fire. But he makes short work of Landmolus there. Picks up his first crystal at about 33 minutes and 30 seconds.
Okay, so Hippo is eventually going to see here that Turtle Rock is ether. So we're certainly going to need that. We are going to need Fire Rod, which certainly could be on the pedestal. Canis Samaria, we know, is on the floating island. We're waiting for the mirror, which cannot be on the Yes, because of Swamp Palace. And Flippers also can't be on pedestal because of Swamp Palace as well. So...
yeah, it's looking like Fire Rod is probably it, or there could be a medallion. It could be Ether if the medallion from Misery Mire is not also Ether.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and when we look at Hippo's screen and AmazingAmpharos' screen, like, it's looking fairly full for this early juncture. So this, like, the start of the mid game has already happened for these runners, and we're just a couple items away from go mode.
And honestly, I think the key question at this point for both of the runners is, when is AA gonna go ahead and go to Eastern and find the bow? And when is Hippo gonna do the lunchbox and take it to Gary to get the hammer?
Yeah, now I would assume he's gonna head over. Oh, he's heading over to Misery Marsh, so he's gonna do Desert next, pick up his Tempered Sword.
Well, he's already on Tempered, so he'll get to
or his Butter Sword. So far, no big finds here in the front half of Thieves Town. 2 more chests to go. Lots of dungeon items. And a full heart container. Silvers were at Saharshala's hut. So the bow being French Vanilla in Eastern Palace, AmazingAmpharos will probably get both of those at the same time.
There is that Butter Sword.
Yeah, both our players are one important item, key item ahead on each other. Hippo has the bow, AmazingAmpharos has the hammer. It's a race to see who will collect that extra item first. But both of them have dungeons to do that do not, that will not lead them to those locations at this time.
No. Possibly Hippo does Thieves Town, might go to Thieves Town next, and that may lead him to go get the lunchbox, but that would mean he wouldn't have the hammer for the Thieves Town big chest, and if that has a critical item, that could be treacherous.
Yeah, that could be a real problem. Additionally, the one thing AmazingAmpharos probably doesn't, I mean, he'll want to find it, obviously, is that fire rod, but it could also lead him astray for a short while. It won't hurt too much. He could just clear a couple of places, but the mirror, of course, I think would immediately send him over to Desert Palace, Eastern Palace.
All right, there's compass. So there is going to be an item in the Thieves Town big chest. We're about to see what it is. Or
maybe not. Maybe I miscounted. Did I miscount?
Oh, we don't have the small key.
Oh, yes. So there isn't.
The small key itself is what's in the Thieves Town big chest.
Mm-hmm. So that means Blind has the item, so not too bad. So simultaneous boss fights, just different bosses, as Blind is on AmazingAmpharos' side here. Meanwhile, Hippo gets those nice shots with the first 2 silver arrows, misses the 1 cycle by a few seconds, but finishes off an early 2nd cycle.
$20 from Blind, and both runners raise a crystal, and puts them even at 2 crystals apiece.
So that does mean that it's okay for Hippo to head into Thieves Town. Fortunately for him, he's not going to need the hammer. So if he does go there next, which I believe will be his decision-making, part of his decision-making process. Oh no, instead he's going to go do the Mire shed area. So just making me wrong all the time.
Meanwhile, AA is going to do Peg Cave. Quake is needed for Mire if we need to go in there, but it is a pendant.
Whoa, there's the
Ooh!
mirror in Peg Cave, so that's exactly what AmazingAmpharos wanted to find, really. He doesn't know that, but magic powder on Hippo's side might actually pull him towards Gary's lunchbox, because it's in the same area. Might make him think about it. But that's really nice find for AmazingAmpharos. I would assume he's going to make use of that, or at least it'll give him a pull to do it, and judging by where he's heading now, he's going to go up to... Oh no, he's gonna go and do... He's gonna fake flipper into ice?
Really? No,
Has he-
no.
What's he...
He's
Yeah, he
fake
is.
flippering into ice.
Well, he has bombos, hoping for some magic here. What a gutsy call. He has everything he needs to finish the dungeon. So very interesting play.
All right, so let's think about this. Eastern and Pod are crystals. Skullwoods, he has not been to yet at all and is waiting on the fire. It could be waiting on Fire Rod. Turtle Rock also need Fire Rod. So I guess this is a gamble that I have everything to do this crystal dungeon by sequence breaking flippers. So I know flippers aren't going to be here. So I'm going to do this. I know where Cane of Samaria is. I know flippers can't be here. I'm gambling that maybe Bow, Ether, Fire Rod is here.
Yeah, that's got to be his hope. He does... It could also be that this is the only time he'd need the flippers. If it's not required that he goes into Swamp Palace, so could also be kind of thinking to himself, well, one less item to have to track down, perhaps.
Now, both of them did sequence break Zora. So, I mean, that adds to the thought that once you do this, flippers are going to be no longer necessary, except unless you have to get into Swamp for some reason.
Yeah, and that did give them a sword, but no other logically important items. Yeah, this is a very gutsy call on AmazingAmpharos' side. Like, really interesting. You'll have to wait and see if it pays off. If he finds, like, the Fire Rod or Ether Medallion while he's in here, he's going to feel really, really good. Obviously, he can't find the bow, which is another item that he'd love to locate, but yeah, there's a lot of potential for him to find something great.
Yeah, for those that are just joining us, we know Bow is in the, I want to say it's the third chest in Eastern Palace. I think that's the compass chest. Cane of Samaria is on the floating island. Mirror is on Peg Cave. Hammer is in Gary's lunchbox.
Yeah, so we are literally looking for 2 items that would make a player be in go mode. Obviously, the flippers should be required, but
yeah,
might not be necessary.
Yeah, 3 technically. The 2 that we're still waiting on is the Ether Medallion to get into Turtle Rock and the Fire Rod for both Turtle Rock and Skullwoods.
So, setting up this bomb jump. Gets it first try, not too shabby.
Having a little trouble lining up with the door, but gets it done. Gonna do iced tea room first, and then we'll probably hookshot over to the 3 chests on the right side of Ice Palace.
Meanwhile, Hippo now in his blind fight. So the make or break moment in this seed or in this particular key, I think, is going to be what Hippo does next. If he takes the lunchbox and gets himself his hammer, he's going to be in a great spot positionally. If he doesn't, chooses to go somewhere else on a hunt for other items, is really going to be problematic for him. So let's see what he chooses to do here. So
now here's the one caveat about that, though. This is what the logic wants you to do. You have to do lunchbox to get the hammer, and then go all the way back to go to Peg Cave to get the mirror.
yeah.
And at this point, if he does pick up the lunchbox, which he's not, even whenever he decides to do that, the peg cave will now be the only thing left in this area for him to do.
Yeah, now he's heading into Skull Woods. Is there another item? He didn't go to the back half. He must be short one item. Oh no, he's setting up a water rock to get to the eastern side of the Dark World. So what we just saw him do there was dash across that gap, that hole, and it's going to set up a water walk condition for him. He'll be able to make it to the eastern side of the Dark World without the flippers. Now, we don't often see this. It is a logical it's a logical break for him, but we do know that the hammer is technically available, so he doesn't actually have to do this.
And he gets that water walk down. Now, again, this is in logic because we know Gary's lunchbox has the hammer, and so you could get over here with this. He doesn't have it, though, so... Fire Rod, Ether, those two items that we're still on the lookout for, Catfish could have.
Or something like flippers, even, which is another important item, not necessarily required, but could be impactful. Just a piece of heart.
Just a lousy piece of heart.
Now he'll head over to, presumably, he'll head over to the pyramid ledge. Now, the one thing, though, that he is likely as well going to do is head into Palace of Darkness, but without that hammer, he won't be able to finish it. And that's going to hurt him a little bit. It might force him into a double dip if he chooses to do that. Might not. This might be as far as he decides to go.
With AmazingAmpharos being on green mail, Cold Stare Hugs do 4 hearts of damage. So drinks that red potion, gets Cold Stare down. So finishes off Ice Palace. We didn't find anything of importance in Ice Palace and just a 10 bomb upgrade on the pyramid ledge.
Yeah, and it looks like the fact that Hippo hasn't save and quit out tells me he's heading into the Palace of Darkness here. It's going to force a double dip for him.
And AA is now heading to Eastern. And the way he's instead of going Dark World first, he's gonna do Sahasrara's Closet, and we'll see if he decides to make that dip into Eastern Palace.
Yeah, I'm surprised that he's doing it this way. He has the mirror. He could have just brought it along with him, but instead he didn't. So silver arrows for him, the third bottle and another full heart container.
But see, he's pulling out the flute. He's not going in.
Or he might be heading back to the location number 5 in order to get the Dark World. Might have changed his mind. But no, instead he's going to go to Ice Rod Cave. He hasn't done that yet.
Yes.
And it is apparent that you know, AA definitely wants to find that bow before going into those 2 bow-locked dungeons. This is really just kind of a waiting game now as to who's going to go and get the item that they need first. They're both kind of in, I would say, they're both kind of in places that the runners wouldn't want to necessarily head to for different reasons, but it's going to be who decides to go there first that's going to probably put them in the lead position of the seed.
All right, AA is going to show us something new. We have not seen the mushroom turned in. Did not save and quit, though, so a fake powder. And this is a 5-bomb upgrade, but he's not going to do a hard reset to save the mushroom.
So Hippo is looking for that hammer. He really wants to find it here inside Palace of Darkness. He's not going to. A now heading into the Mire area. He's going to be able to do checkerboard, which we haven't seen yet as well. Could
We'll
potentially give us an item.
We'll also get the real powder in the Mire shed.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we know. So to rehash, hammer, Gary's lunchbox, Cane of Samaria, floating island, mirror, peg cave. So I screwed that up. Hammer to mirror to Cane of Samaria. We are still on the lookout for the fire rod and the ether medallion for go mode, and technically the flippers.
Mm-hmm. So Hippo takes a death warp there. Doesn't have the mirror, so just a way to speed things up. Get back to the front of the dungeon. Half magic here in Checkerboard Cave. AmazingAmpharos is going to pick that up. Certainly not required for anything, but definitely makes things a little bit nicer along the way. And he's heading back to...
With that powder, he's
magic
gonna...
powder.
Yeah, he's going to do Magic Bat. $20 in the I forget what that chest is, a pod. I think that's compass chest. There's another small key. And another.
All the keys hanging out back here. AmazingAmpharos is going to get himself cursed by the Mad Bat. With a bug net. Ooh, a swag net curse.
Blue mail in pod.
So switching to hammer, AA is going to head into... Oh, he's going to go into... Oh, I'm not sure. I was going to say he's going to go into swamp, but he doesn't have the flippers, so...
And you cannot fake flipper into Swamp Palace in any way, shape, or form. This is, I think, Bombo's tablet. Maybe cave, maybe South Grove Cave. Yeah, South Grove. And pod coming up Snake Eyes.
Yeah, no good key items there for Hippo. Where will he head? Alright, he is going back into the Dark World here at one of his few locations he has available to him. That hammer really limits you. And there's the Quake Medallion. So that's Misery Mire access now for AmazingAmpharos.
And here's the thing I was actually just about to get to. We still have to see what's on Bombo's tablet, but Ice Palace, sequence broken, but nothing. Pod, we've gotten everything except what's on Helmassar, nothing. Skullwoods, the one item was a sword upgrade. One of the 3 remaining items that we have has to be in one of the Pendant dungeons, unless the Bombo's tablet here has it.
Or well, Misery Mire could potentially...
But Misery Mire's a Pendant dungeon.
No, Misery Mire is... Oh, it is a Pendant dungeon. I forgot.
All right, Hippo has the lunchbox. He's about to get hammer.
Yeah,
and
that's gonna
probably not gonna be happy when he sees that.
Yeah, but you're gonna see. It looks. I would be surprised if we don't see them both racing now to do Palace of Darkness. And AmazingAmpharos bringing the Dark World. Oh no, Hippo's changed his mind.
He's thinking about. Going to 1.
So that's Spike Cave? It's the only thing I could think of that's changed, that's enough, that's worth him checking with just the hammer that he hasn't already checked over here. So that's a very interesting... there's no way he's going into Turtle Rock. He doesn't have the mirror, which is necessary to get the Cane of Samaria. So...
He's going to Hera.
Ooh. But if he was going to Hera... Oh, he doesn't have the mirror. Yes. And the ether medallion check, or ether tablet, he can also check too. So he's starting the pendant dungeon search.
We'll ask Hippo. We can ask Hippo in the interview. But here's what I am mad. If I had to take a wild stab, I've already full cleared pod. And I wasn't keeping track of the item count, but it's entirely possible that we found all the items. And so this is like, I just have to kill Helmasar. Let me go to places I haven't been yet. There's the cape, which we haven't actually seen.
On Bumper Cave yet, no.
And our tracker Merc249 has told us that we have seen all 5 items in pod.
Yeah. So yeah, it would have just been an opportunity for him to pick up a crystal and nothing else. That's something that he's deciding to save for later. There's one item in Tower of Hera, just a blue rupee, hanging out down there in the first area. There's 3 items to be found here in the tower. Big key means that we're not going into the basement just this time yet.
But this kind of gets to the point I was getting at. With all of the accessible crystal dungeons haven't been combed out of items, at this point we're down to pendant dungeons, and it's which pendant dungeon is going to lead to progression.
And we can't get into Swamp yet, so there's really only 2 places to go. Tower of Hera and Misery Mire. Misery Mire, of course, Hippo can't get into yet. He hasn't found Quake. So the second item...
Sorry, I didn't mean to trip on you. That was bombs. Now, Hera was the green pendant, which was probably why Hippo was hesitating, but still he nopes out.
Yeah, that's very interesting. He went for 2.
Now, meanwhile, AA did a bottle glitch to try to bypass not needing the bow. Hippo about to do Magic Bat. We'll see if he decides to also go Dark World and go to Peg Cave, which we know will be the mirror.
And that's pretty much exactly what he would like to find. We'll have to see if he makes that play at this point. It opens up a lot of areas of the world for him to check that he needs to go to.
Okay, so that means... So let's think about this. We're still missing flippers. And AmazingAmpharos sequence broke to Ice Palace, and we know nothing is in there. So flippers have to be somewhere, which cannot be pedestal. Ether can be on pedestal. Fire Rod can be on pedestal. And Hippo is going to go to Peg Cave. At least I hope he does.
Yeah, I feel like Hippo's really kind of scrambling at this point. Now he's going to get something good here for what he's doing. It still boggles me a little bit why he went 2 items into Tower of Hera and didn't stay for the 3rd. Just to be sure that he wasn't going to have to head back in there. It's the last thing you'd like to do is make another trek up Death Mountain. Now, the very interesting thing here is it's possible, we didn't think about this, but it's possible for Turtle Rock to have what we need. The Cane Samario could lead us to a Fire Rod early on. And also Ether.
But you need the Ether to get in, and we don't have Ether yet.
Ether, sorry. But it could have the Fire Rod.
Meanwhile, we are going to see Cape.
Bumper Cave.
Or, Cape Bumper Cave, sorry. Have we seen Graveyard Ledge also?
I don't think we've seen Graveyard Ledge yet from either player either, because this is the first opportunity for them to have both the Dark World access as well as the mirror. So Hippo could be showing us something new.
And realistically, after that, we've seen everything we can access in the overworld. Mire is pretty much all that would be left.
Hippo still has Cave 45, and that's going to give him his Mire access. But this is an interesting thing here.
Meanwhile, AA has noped out of Eastern and is finally pod.
Oh!
There's Ether.
Ether in the Graveyard Ledge, so that's another one-off location. If AmazingAmpharos starts hunting for Ether in Pendants, he could be in for a bad time.
All right, so to finish up what I was saying, AmazingAmpharos finished off pod. He finally has reluctantly gone into Eastern Palace and is momentarily about to pick up his bow. Hippo gets dead rocked. So, I mean, this is what the race is now at. AmazingAmpharos has to go to Graveyard Ledge to get Ether, and then it basically comes down to a not full clearable Turtle Rock or a full clearable Pendant Misery Mire.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to get that bow. It's been available to him since the start of the game. But will allow him now to head back into Palace of Darkness, rather, and to finish off that dungeon. He did have to leave the Palace of Darkness because he did not have the bow to get to past the second set of Igors or mimics.
Hippo getting dead rocked a second time in Death Mountain, and now going to, at the very least, open up Turtle Rock, and I gotta imagine he's going in. Well, he's gotta go get the Cane of Samaria and the floating island first, and then maybe going in?
Wow, this is a very interesting kind of unfold for this second half of the seed. It's 1 hour in. Both these runners having very divergent paths. Like, it's not often that you see paths so different than this, than we have seen here. Key items just changed what way that these runners wanted to head through the seed. And it's really too hard for me to say who's ahead at this point. Both runners probably fairly even, in fact. Certainly they're both 3 crystals in, and they're both just missing 1 or 2 key items, and it's where they go to find them.
So I'm not gonna say that Hippo is in the lead, but I'll couch it this way. Hippo is fully in sequence and has not done Ice Palace, whereas AmazingAmpharos sequence broke and did Ice Palace. It's really going to come down to what's in Turtle Rock. For AmazingAmpharos, it's you got to go to Graveyard Ledge and get the Ether Medallion, and how long does he hold that off? Which I have to imagine would be not long, because he's running out of locations too. And it's really just going to be, what do you find in Turtle Rock, and what does that lead to?
Yeah, if he finds, like, Fire Rod in Misery Mire, he heads there. Again, it's not completable until he goes up to pick up the Cane of Samaria, so I'd assume he'd go there first.
Okay, so there was a piece of heart there, so you can't progress any further. Mm-hmm. But I would have at least checked what Chain Chomp chest was.
Well, you didn't have a key.
Oh, right. Duh.
Yeah, so he needs the Fire Rod to get some keys. If he had found a key there, he could have continued on, or if he had found the Fire Rod there, he could have continued on. Now, instead, he's heading into the Dark World. He has access to Bombo's tablet, which is where he's likely heading now, or he's going to go to K45, which is going to give him Misery Mire access, and he can complete Misery Mire.
It's got to be the Fire Rod has to be in Mire. Okay, no, I take that back. Flippers could be in Misery Mire, because that then leads you to Swamp Palace.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be either, but one of the two have to be in there. Hippo is thinking about it.
He's contemplating. Oh, he flutes over to 8. He's gonna make Flipper into Ice Palace.
He's gonna do the same thing AA did.
Ugh. What a bizarre situation. At this point, I'm going to say that I believe this puts. This is good for AA. I don't want to say it does anything because he still has to track down that ether medallion, and that might take him a long time. But it certainly is a nice thing.
Well, here's the thing. Mire has to have something.
Yeah.
At this point, and the thing is, AmazingAmpharos realistically at this point only really has Hera to go to, so it really
Fire Rod could be in Hera, as you say,
or Sahasrahla. We know Hera doesn't have anything, but the green pendant is there.
And chat, I know you're hoping Fire Rod could still be. It's one of the items that can be on the pedestal. It's the only item necessary that could be on the pedestal still.
Or if you really want to be sadistic, the shovel could be there and the fire rod could be buried at the dig spot.
Yeah, fetch quest on pedestal. Now, neither runner has checked. They have the Book of Medora, but neither runner has checked pedestal, so we have no idea.
While we have a moment, let's we haven't said this yet, but Hippo and AmazingAmpharos have been putting on quite a show for us. Please be sure to give both the runners follows on Twitch. They have certainly deserve them.
Oh, Hippo falling, getting a little twitchy here on his bomb jump. Fat Fairy, of course, can't contain anything of use because need the fire rod to get one of the crystals. And so, since that's the only thing we're looking for at this point, it's not going to be there. So AA now heading up to Catfish for his piece of heart. Probably not going to be too happy to see that.
There's also been a bit of a discussion about if Fat Fairy could have what we're looking for. The thing is, Skullwoods is one of the 5-6 crystals, which needs Fire Rod. So Fire Rod can't be at the Fat Fairy location.
Yeah, this is very, very interesting. This seed could have an entire chain of A leads to B leads to C still left for our runners.
And the thing is, we already had one because we had Gary's lunchbox lead to Hammer, lead to Peg Cave from Mirror, lead to Canis Samaria at Floating Island, which I gotta imagine that's where AA's headed now.
Yep, and Sir owns a lot. No, they haven't checked Swamp because they don't have the flippers. So at this point, it really is anyone's matchup. It's gonna come down to who finds Fire Rod, and that's it.
Pretty much. I mean, and the thing is, we've seen them comb almost everywhere. All that's left is green pendant on Troll Dorm, leading to the item on Sahasrahla, Mire, and the pedestal. But the truth of the matter is you're gonna have to check those three locations before one of them would have the flippers to lead you to Swamp Palace.
And really what we just saw on AmazingAmpharos' side is he picks up that cape, but he's got to think to himself, this is essentially just another fetch quest for him. He hasn't seen what's on the bumper cave, but it is likely going to pull him there if this doesn't pay off, which is going to net him Ether Medallion, which is a great thing for him to find, except we now know that is going to provide him with access to Turtle Rock and the first chest in Turtle Rock, and that's about it.
Chat asking about the coffee break room. We haven't seen it, but we know triple bombs is the other item that they're about to find in the compass chest.
Yep.
Very textbook cold stare fight from Hippo.
They got him locked in the corner there. So all that's left then is the green pendant here. If this turns, and AA is going to head up and grab it, he's here. Either way, if this has the item he needs, that's great. If it turns into a pedestal seed, it's a very big advantage for him. Because an entire climb up Death Mountain plus Tower of Hera is nothing to sneeze at.
But
meanwhile, Hippo going for Misery Mire.
Didn't mean to step on you there, but Hippo is going to Mire, and this is basically we're seeing the last three locations here: green pendant and the two items in Mire. Hippo wise to use the sword beams to get the murder dactyl off screen, because Quake being a earthquake and dealing with a airborne enemy would have done nothing for the murder dactyl.
So now if Hippo finds the fire rod here, he's going to be in a fantastic location. He'll just head over to Palace of Darkness, finish that off, and up to Turtle Rock.
Chad also reminding me we haven't seen Spike Cave either. So there's actually 4 locations that are still on the table.
Now AA's probably going to pick up his Cane of Samaria. Isn't opening Turtle Rock because he doesn't have Ether yet. But we'll pick up his Cane of Samaria, and I'm assuming we'll then check Spike Cave before heading into Misery Mire if that's his intention.
All right,
and look at that.
There's the God Mire. Of all the times you want the God Mire, is when you have to hunt items.
So for those of you in chat who don't know, Misery Mire is one of those dungeons pretty much do if all you need is one key and the big key. If the first chest you open has the big key, there's a key in that skull pot we just saw Hippo pick up, and you can go mode Misery Mire at this point. However, if you have to hunt for that key, it can basically go from either a full clear necessary or that. It's funny that when you don't need it to be a setup like that is when it ends up being that way.
All right, we're seeing Spike Cave from AmazingAmpharos, so something's got to give at this point. Either flippers, fire rod, or shovel is going to be in one of these 4 locations. We know Ether is on Graveyard Ledge. AA hasn't been there yet.
Now, if it's flippers, oof.
If it's flippers.
It's nothing.
All right. Piece of heart, it's Spike Cave. We're down to 3.
I believe we have not found anything here in Misery Mire. Did we find one?
Nope, we haven't found any items yet.
All dungeon items and keys.
Big chest, vanilla big key chest, and vitreous. Two of the 3 have to have something. All right.
Man, a God Mire that has turned into a full clear Mire. Saharshala check coming up.
Moment of truth.
Oh,
50 bucks.
So
it's in.
It has to be in Misery Mire, I believe. We've got to get some progression here.
How trolly would it be if Vitreous has the item that you needed, and you could just God Mire it?
Oh.
In fact, if AmazingAmpharos does that, if the vanilla big key chest doesn't have something, and AmazingAmpharos Godmire's does a gamble Godmire, could that swing the tide right now?
Mm-hmm. Especially since AmazingAmpharos has already finished off Palace of Darkness. Hippo still is going to have to go there. So he's got to bank on the time on this particular thing, taking a little bit of time.
All right, so these are the last two checks. Progression is either in the vanilla big key chest or on Vitreous. Moment of truth. Vanilla big key chest. Heart container. Vitreous has the item if AA go modes Mire and gambles Vitreous.
Yeah, I can't believe he would do it, but I've seen stranger things. Both the show and in A Link to the Past Randomizer, so...
I see what you did there. So let's review kind of what we have. If it's Fire Rod, that opens up Turtle Rock and opens up the last item in Skullwoods. If it's Flippers, it opens up Ice Palace, which we know has nothing, and then progression would have to be in Swamp Palace or Pedestal.
So AmazingAmpharos is going to clear the Misery Mire, is not going to head into Vitreous right off the bat.
In fact, since Crozone, since both runners have fake flippered Ice Palace, if this is Fire Rod, are you good with saying this is go mode?
Oh, it absolutely is for them. At this point, they neither runner has to go into Ice Palace.
All right, so we're gonna call this go mode if this is the Fire Rod.
But it's gonna be Flippers.
We will see. Hippo going into the eyeball shooting gallery. Textbook zero cycle moment of truth. Fire Rod or Flippers? It's the Fire Rod! 1 hour, 17 minutes, 22 seconds. Hippo is in go mode.
Now, that sounds great for Hippo, but we have to keep in mind he has to hit Palace of Darkness. He has to kill Helmassar King and Skullwoods before heading up to Turtle Rock. Meanwhile, AmazingAmpharos is going to only have to go to Skullwoods and then Turtle Rock. So I would say at this point, Hippo, though he is first into go mode, is technically a little bit behind.
There is one thing, though. AmazingAmpharos still needs Ether.
Oh, he does! I didn't even realize. So that could be... That's a bigger problem, I think.
Well, but here's...
Palace is.
But here's the thing. AmazingAmpharos has nowhere else to go. So AmazingAmpharos is going to get the Fire Rod off of Vitreous. Most likely will go to Skullwoods, and then that sets him up...
He can't go to Turtle Rock.
No, exactly. It sets him up to do Bumper Cave, which he hasn't done, and then Graveyard Ledge.
Right. So that he has a very nice natural path at this point to go through, but it does slow him down a little bit. Is it going to be enough? Is Hippo going to be able to get through Helmassar King before AA enters Skullwoods?
And you know what's funny about this? A long time ago, in this race, we were talking about how both runners were going to be a butter sword, and then I said, well, if AA goes into go mode, he's not going to get that sword upgrade on the big chest at Skullwoods.
That is true.
So realistically, we are going to see a butter sword silver versus tempered sword silvers. So in a lot of ways, the difference between butter and tempered sword may determine this race. Yeah,
the left and right side checks potentially could play a factor. There's a lot here. This is a very close matchup. And that's exactly what you want to see in a top 16 match. You don't want a blowout. You want these two players to be competitive with one another, and that's exactly what we're getting here. So that's really exciting. Keep in mind, we still have to find flippers.
Technically, they have to be in Turtle Rock. They can't be on the pedestal because Swamp Palace is a pendant. The flippers have to be in Turtle Rock.
Yeah, and AA can't go mode. Well, may not go mode Skull Woods. So he might still find that sword. Because he still needs ether, so.
Except the big key is in its vanilla location, which I guess if you do back to front, that maybe he gets that butter sword.
So yep, Hippo was fast through Palace of Darkness. Is gonna beat AA to Skullwoods. Or it's gonna just barely though. And ether is in the Graveyard Ledge.
Hippo is essentially in a Graveyard Ledge check ahead of AmazingAmpharos at this point.
Yep.
Because Hippo's going to go straight to Skullwoods here, and AmazingAmpharos is going to be on his heels.
Yeah, and as I just said, this means Hippo is straight going to the back, and I assume AmazingAmpharos is also going to go to the back. He might also check the pedestal when he finishes off Mothula, just to make sure it's not a ped seat. So Hippo's clearly in an advantageous position here. I'd say it's safe to say he's in the lead for reals.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to take AA playing perfectly as well as making the exact correct call in order to catch up, I think.
And AA is going to full clear Skullwoods at this point.
Yeah, still hunting for that ether medallion.
So yeah, Hippo is going to have a lead.
But it is not an insurmountable, should be clear.
Absolutely.
Yeah, unless AA comes out of Skull Woods and doesn't go do Bumper Cave Graveyard Ledge, because he's lost track, this should be fairly close.
Yeah, but the thing is those are literally the only two things AA has left at this point after Skull Woods.
Yeah, it's, as long as he doesn't neglect one or the other, or forget, like maybe he may, slips his mind or something.
Now, one small thing that is going to be a difference. Half Magic was on Graveyard Ledge. AmazingAmpharos has that. Hippo does not.
Yeah, but Half Magic, I agree, absolutely could be a factor. But the biggest thing that Half Magic does is help you if you have to do a lot of if you miss the torch glitch. But with Buttersword Silver, probably not a large factor.
That is true. And Merc reminding me it was Checkerboard Cave. I wanted to say Checkerboard Cave, and for some reason I said whatever I said, which is words, hype, what Hippo has crystal number 6.
So Gomo Turtle Rock is an option here. It doesn't really change too much. You can obviously skip Mimic Cave, but depending on the key layout, may or may not actually be a significant time save on Hippo's side here. He may still have to clear the entire dungeon if Laser Bridge has Last Chest Small Key. So.
Alright, so Hippo is on his way to Turtle Rock. AmazingAmpharos gonna head into Mothula. Still gonna be looking for that ether medallion, though.
Yeah, so he's gonna head back into the rest of Skull Woods there. Unfortunately for him. Nice Montula fight, though.
Very nicely done. Okay, so the first item is the heart container. I was so scrambled from screwing up checkerboard cave that I completely missed what the item was.
Additionally, speaking to the magic thing, I believe both runners still have 2 green potions. So
and actually, AmazingAmpharos is not checking pedestal. That will work out in his favor because we know Ether is which, when you think about it, I think makes sense. Because at this point, where AmazingAmpharos is, he's about to check the big chest and get the butter stored. He'll probably do Bumper Cave and then Graveyard Ledge. And if he wasn't to find Ether, he will at the Graveyard Ledge. At that point, you're going to Swamp Palace either way, and that's the last pen that you have left. Checking the pedestal really doesn't save you any time. Yeah. Other than maybe go-moding right to Argus.
Yeah, he hasn't found the flippers, as we know. He won't until Turtle Rock. So he can't even go into Skull or Swamp Palace. So he knows that it can't be a pendant unless he picks it up.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. Details. Okay,
it's
so...
things like that, though, that are important to think about. Sorry.
No. You say... go ahead.
It's things like that that players who are top players can kind of naturally intuit as they're playing. You know, like you and I, we both play the game, but also, you know, we're sitting here with the opportunity to chat amongst ourselves, speak to chat, kind of talk and bounce ideas off one another. But players are doing this as they are functionally playing the game, and that really is a challenge.
And that's the thing. Me forgetting about flippers and Swamp Palace being a thing means Ether has to be here.
Or flippers.
Or flippers leading to Ether, but we know it's Ether, and 1 hour, 27 minutes, 2 seconds, AmazingAmpharos isn't go mode.
Oh, 2 keys. Still no big key.
So that
Hippo
means
has to go check this.
Yes. Sorry, didn't mean to step on you there, but yes, because there was 2 keys and no big key in vanilla location.
So he does have the keys he needs, or he's likely going to have the keys that he needs.
Yeah, Hippo has a slight advantage on AA, but a left side, right side difference in GT, a Ganon fall, or an untimely death, a Trolldorm fall will certainly make the difference in this race.
So we've lost, we're losing some frames there on Hippo's side, but AA now entering Turtle Rock on his side.
All right, so we're gonna see AmazingAmpharos retrace Hippo's steps here.
Hopefully we'll get Hippo's side back before the big key guessing game starts.
If we don't get Hippo stream back, we'll just use AmazingAmpharos for the big key guessing game. We still need to give chat what they want.
So, getting past the chain chomp room, no troubles.
All right, so realistically at this point, it's pretty much just gonna be GT routing and execution that's basically just gonna determine who wins this race at this point.
Yeah, and so for those of you who are, speculating chat, don't worry. In order for the race to be completed, it would the local backups that he'll have will show us that his time will be recorded properly, as well. The official time obviously is not kept by the stream. As you know, we take our Speed Racing TV times, which are done through another channel that won't be affected by a situation like this. So we'll probably have accurate results. So AA is going to go to the big key chest, though, unlike Hippo.
I don't know why AA would be... Oh, small key.
That key.
Yeah. Duh.
Ooh, so that means that Hippo might have to have backtracked here.
That would save him a little bit of time. That would give AA some time back.
Yeah. As soon as he got here, he would know that he needed that he needed another key. So it wouldn't have been a huge amount of time. But it's in 30, 40 seconds.
All right, but so at this point, we'll just do the big key guessing game based on AmazingAmpharos. If you do want to play in that guessing game, you either need to subscribe to our speed gaming channels or donate 250 bits. But we're not going to start that race until AmazingAmpharos finishes off Trinex. Very clean fight on the first phase.
Yeah, not going for the zero cycle or did go for the zero cycle. He did get it, did he?
Doesn't matter either way. He's got Trinex down. And the map, and there's crystal number 7. So there are 22 locations where that big key can be in the basement of Ganon's Tower. If you want to play in this guessing game, you need to donate either 250 bits or subscribe to one of the 6 speed gaming channels and then put in a number between 1 and 22. But you better do it quick because we're almost at Ganon's Tower. Cross Zone 80. What's your guess?
I was the race before this had Torch, which is I've been calling Torch for a long time. So I can't call Torch this time. I'm gonna go with number 7 today. Number 7 for me.
Taco Supreme giving us a Twitch Prime sub. Thank you very much. I am going to go number 12.
All right, 7 and 12 for us. Let's see what happens is AmazingAmpharos is entering Ganon's Tower, so a few more seconds before you need to get your guess in, and we are done.
We are done. Guesses are closed. Right side check start for AmazingAmpharos. Number 1, $50. Number 2, $20. No key, gotta go left. Number 3, riot shield. All right, chest number 4. There it is.
Wow, 4.
So, pretty much there was no way to route this. I mean, unless you took the small key from the pinball room, there was pretty much only one way to route this Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, and so our winner in the big key guessing game here was SumCaps, guessing 4 correctly. So congratulations to you, SumCaps. Your name will now forever be emblazoned upon the leaderboard until such time as it gets reset, probably shortly after the completion of this tournament.
But AmazingAmpharos is into the gauntlet. At this point, you got blue mail, you got butter sword, you got silver arrows. The randomization is done. You just gotta execute your way to Aga 2 and the big pig. Having a little bit of trouble on the ice, trying to get that red Staphos, but
got it.
Stone killed or whatever it is. But we're into lamp mode 2. Very nice zero cycle from AmazingAmpharos.
Yeah, that was as good as you can hope for.
And now for some of the most satisfying rooms in Ganon's Tower. 2 Cane of Samaria blocks and a sword swipe, and you kill 7 Wizrobes just like that.
Yeah. Feel like almost getting knocked off by that laser beam. Gets the 1 cycle though, so.
Still needs to pick up a key here, gets it, now has the keys needed to get up to Aga 2. Counters the 2 fairies for a full health refill, gets the full magic refill, doesn't bother with the chest, and go into Troll Dorm 2.
Yeah, and we're about an hour 40 into the race at this point, and you can see as well, like 17 hearts. We've picked up quite a lot of the goods along the way here. AmazingAmpharos has been through all but one of the dungeons, so this has been a slog, but a quick one for the amount that they had to do.
And AmazingAmpharos on his way to the Geometry Wars.
Another double there to finish off Agate 2 as AmazingAmpharos heads down to the Ganon fight.
Very nicely done already, way past phase 2 at this point.
Ganon deciding that he feels like he wants to teleport all over the screen. And we have Hippo's stream back.
Out of nowhere, we have the stream back.
So I can tell you now that, well, we did lose Hippo's stream. We did see his time come in on the official Speed Racing TV channel in IRC. So while he was having some stream issues, was not having a problem keeping it playing, and he marked his time officially, or his time was officially marked at 1 hour, 40 minutes, and 52 seconds as he takes the win here. Probably just had an OBS issue, or his streaming software had a small issue. AmazingAmpharos, of course, finishing as well with an official Speed Racing TV time of 1 hour, 42 minutes, and 51 seconds. So just about 2 minutes between these players. Very close matchup. Gotta say that it was an exciting race. Too bad about losing Hippo's stream for such a large portion. But we're gonna go ahead and see if we can find these players and have a little chat with them now that the race is completed.
All right, we've got AmazingAmpharos on standby. I have reached out to Hippo. Hippo said that his cable modem screwed up, and so that's why we lost his stream earlier. And actually, we have
both ready for us.
All right. We have Hippo and AmazingAmpharos both joining us in chat. GG's to both of you.
Yeah, good game, Hippo. And did you find the flippers in Turtle Rock?
Yes, I did. They were on the third chest of Laser Bridge.
Okay, because I knew 100% they were either in Mimic Cave or in Turtle Rock.
So, speaking of Turtle Rock real quick, Hippo, your stream cut out right as you were bypassing the big chest in Turtle Rock. I'm assuming you had to go back for the small key that was in there.
Oh, yeah. That was a 5 out of 6 gamble, and I lost.
So, also, Hippo, apologies to you. You were telling me that your stream was going to come back, and I thought your stream was gone for good, so I misunderstood what you were saying earlier. My apologies.
It's fine. I was hoping it was going to come back before the credits, because it was supposed to. Like, the internet was back up 5 minutes previous, but it didn't decide to actually kick in and go onto the restream, so, yeah.
So, I think the first question is in order. It goes to AmazingAmpharos of... So about that bow at Eastern Palace.
I mean, honestly, the bow wasn't really an issue because the bow's not even important outside of Pod Eastern, and you are going to find it when doing it. The sequence of the seed that was just an objectively terrible thing was Hammer to Mire to Fire Rod.
Hammer to Mire to Cane of Samaria to Fire Rod, yeah.
Double save and quit to Hammer to Mire to Medallion to Fire Rod, yeah.
Yeah. Because
The funny thing is, I did almost all of that super early, but because I didn't want to walk all the way to the cane, I put off Mire forever.
Yeah, which then also, I think what also hurt you, AmazingAmpharos, was not going to Graveyard Ledge for as long as you did to get the Ether Medallion.
I mean, Graveyard Ledge was pretty much an objectively bad play for the whole game. It happened to be the correct one, but it's literally the single furthest single in the world given the early boots and mitts situation, so no regrets about it.
I hadn't checked Bumper Ledge yet, and I just found the Cape, so it was 2 for me. It made a little more sense.
Yeah, by the time I found the Cape, like, it was so late, because I didn't... When I learned that Hera was a pendant, which hilariously was when I talked to Sahas like an hour in, but regardless, when I learned that Hera was a pendant and Eastern was the crystal, I was like, okay, so I gotta go up for the Cane of Samaria getting ready to go into Mire, and honestly, if an answer isn't in Mire, I've lost this race. So then I found the Cape, and I'm like, that doesn't change anything about what I have to do, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, the thing is that the way the race was working out, basically all we had left was the green pendant because Hippo did Hera earlier than you did, but noped out before killing Trolldorm, Spike Cave, and the 2 items in Mire. So it was basically like, well, it wasn't basically like, it was very tense at that point, trying to see which of those 4 locations was going to have the progression, and it turned out to be Vitreous with the Fire Rod.
I'm really glad it was, too, because after I'm saving quitting out of Hera, I'm like, nope, that's green, isn't it? It's not blue-red. I'm not in a good mood right now.
Yeah, it was just $50 was at Sahasrahla.
It was just a foul-mooded seed. It just didn't ever really let you feel like you were doing well.
The funny thing is, if Ether had been in a friendlier place, I still could have won despite everything else. Like, if Ether had been dropped by Mothula, I think I win the race, but it wasn't.
Yeah, and both of you ended up fake flippering to do Ice Palace. There was a couple of decisions I was going to ask you guys about that, man, the way the race that unfolded, I forgot some of them. I know one was, Hippo, you had done Eastern early, and then gambled Pod looking for the hammer and didn't find it, and then you found the hammer at Gary's lunchbox. So you fluted to 5 like you were going to finish Helmassar, and then immediately backed away from that. Was that just because you knew you just needed to kill Helmassar, that there wasn't another item in there?
Yeah, I forgot my item count. I went back through it in my head and said, no, I got 5. There's no reason to do this. I probably actually should have stayed. It was more of a waste to leave than it was to just get it over with at that point. But after, doing the water walk and then coming up completely empty, I was banking that we were supposed to do a late Aga. And I don't know, I was just not in a good mood. Kind of temper tantrum away.
Trying to remember the other things I was going to ask you guys. I know.
So I did have a.
No, go ahead, Crozone.
I did have one question. Sorry if I did. You did have Hippo. You did go into Tower of Hera, and were you thinking about the green pendant when you left, or?
No, I saw the second item and pretty much just about slammed my controller down because that was such a long run for nothing. And not only that, but I didn't do Spike on the way out either. Like it was, yeah. It was a temper tantrum. I was not happy.
Yeah, you pulled it off.
I mean, missing Spike Cave, it's one of those things that because it wasn't right, it was nothing but an advantage, because it was an awfully long walk for a piece of heart.
Gross.
So with that, guys, I believe your next matchup, is it happening on Sunday?
Yeah, Sunday at 9 p.m. I see on the schedule.
Yep.
All right, guys. So thanks a lot for such a fantastic race. I know that you de-stress a little bit, let off a sigh, and get a little relief from play. And we look forward to seeing the two of you again in Game 2 in a couple of days. It was a great show for all of us watching. Chat was really into things. There was a lot of speculation. It kind of went back and forth in lots of places. So great action. I know it might have been a frustrating seed, but it certainly was fun for us to watch. And so thanks a lot for both of you putting in the time and effort for us this evening once again. And we look forward to your next matchup.
Thanks. I figured there was one group of people having fun, and it wasn't the runners.
I mean, I didn't dislike the seed. I rolled my eyes at where Ether was, but that's just rando. It didn't faze me.
Well, you could have had Fire Rod Pedestal, so didn't happen.
I was actually disappointed after a certain point that it wasn't Flippers we found and then Ether on the pedestal. That there was an element of disappointment there, I will be honest.
I do not share his sentiment.
I wasn't disappointed either.
No, it was certainly exciting to watch both of you. Be sure to give both Hippo and AmazingAmpharos follows on Twitch. They, as Crozone, you pointed out, they did an amazing job and gave us quite the entertaining race tonight. Mark Turf 249, props to you for tracking for us, as well as the Speed Gaming staff. We do have a exciting rando coming up tomorrow. We have a doubleheader between Gem and TGH that is going to be on Speed Gaming 5. The first match is going to start at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The second race will start shortly after that. And then after Speed Gaming 5, so we're going to have a triple header, actually, because after both of those races at 5:30, we will then have Furame versus Christos Owen. I want to say that's race number 2 of theirs.
Yeah, I believe so.
And then Zelda Dasan and Pink Kitty Rose, their game 3 will be on the ALTTP Randomizer channel at 6:30. And at 7:30, ALG Andy will be taking on Zero Rush in game 2 of their race.
Yeah, so it's a pretty full Saturday. Once again, on behalf of myself, I'd like to thank everybody for watching. And we all look forward to seeing you guys in the next race.
Absolutely. Crozone, it has been a pleasure as always. I always enjoy commentating with you as well as our other commentators, but thank you for being on board with me tonight.
And you as well, Jax Referee. Everybody, you should throw him a follow, as well as everyone else involved at this race and tournament.
Absolutely. But that will wrap up shop for us here. Thank you again, chat. Thank you to everyone who follows and supports the Speed Gaming and ALTTP Randomizer channels. We will see you next mission.
Have a good night.